Hi, 6th grade social studies teachers. My name is Kelly, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through the Intro to World, Regions, and Cultures unit. This is the first social studies unit of the year and provides a foundation for learning about different civilizations from history. This unit takes 33 to 37 days to complete and has 14 lessons, each of which are planned to last around 40 minutes. In this unit, students will build the skills necessary to be successful learners in 6th grade social studies. This includes being able to identify the relationship between supporting questions and the compelling question, analyze an image and generate questions like a social scientist, use primary and secondary sources, and other skills needed to work with geographic representations. Students will be introduced to the GRAPES method that will be used throughout the year as a strategy for learning about cultures and civilizations. This strategy includes learning about aspects of geography, religion, achievements, politics, economics, and society, as well as considering the meaning of culture. By the end of the unit, students will compare and contrast their culture with another, as well as respond to the compelling question using reasoning and evidence. There is a mix of standards in this unit, including inquiry, behavioral science highlighted in yellow, economics in the orange, geography in the green, history in purple, and then 2 reading in history and 1 writing in history standard. Much of the geography is focused on Iowa so that comparisons can then be made to other cultures. This unit is structured around the compelling question, why do I need to learn about world, regions, and cultures? And the 4 supporting questions. What skills do I need to learn in order to be successful during this school year? What is a culture? What strategy can I use to learn about world, regions, and cultures? And how is my culture similar or different from other cultures? Students answer the compelling question for the summative assessment. Evidence and reasoning will need to be included in the response, as that is one of the inquiry skills. There is a compelling question rubric provided in the unit plan that breaks down the different aspects of what should be found in a strong response. This unit has lessons broken out individually. Each lesson has its own section of general information and ends with either a formative or summative assessment if it is at the end of the unit. If you would like more information about how to use the unit plan, please watch the corresponding video found on the Teaching Social Studies playlist. The video is also linked in the description of this video. Much of the work that students complete within this unit can be found in the student packet. The student packet is shown here, and you can either connect it as an assignment on Google Classroom or print a copy for kids to use. All of the unit questions are on the front page where students can take notes over their thoughts. Then we move into various activities that continue along with the setup of the unit. Also in this unit, we have a slideshow that goes along with it. And so from this point, I'm going to split my screen and show you the unit slideshow on one side with the corresponding lessons from the unit plan on the other. Lesson 1 is entitled, We Have Questions. You can see the steps that you will need to take to prepare for the lesson listed here. There's a lesson overview, the supporting question that goes along with the lesson, plus any standards and objectives listed. The lesson begins with a short introduction in which students will watch the video provided on slide 2, but also from links within the unit plan. Students are going to want to write down any observations they have. Then you move into the compelling question, giving a quick review of what a compelling question is. This is a skill that first shows up in kindergarten social studies units, so hopefully students have had a few years at least of learning about compelling questions. Then you present the compelling question, it's listed on slide 4. And with that, I would have students mark down the key phrases or important terms found within the compelling question. Then you move into a review of supporting questions and how they work, and then ask students to complete the formative for the day, which is to simply generate an initial response to the compelling question. As students finish early in this unit, there are a few games that you might consider posting for your students to try out. The online Cetera game is a quick quiz game for location and map skills. And then there's a Carmen Sandiego game and a National Geographic GeoBee game. In lesson 2, we're continuing along with the first supporting question. Again, there's a few items that you need to prepare ahead of time. And this lesson begins with an image analysis. You can give the WDISC strategy a try, which is linked in the video description for this video, as well as you can find it in the Teaching Social Studies playlist. Then you move into thinking like a geographer, having students generate questions about a source, learning about various social scientists. You can see the Thinking Like a Social Scientist cards shown on the same page as the image. And then you end this lesson giving the students a few minutes to generate some idea or update their notes for supporting question 1. Lesson 3 is all about map skills. So you begin this lesson with a challenge of having students describe where they live without using any specific names of buildings, streets, towns, counties, states, countries, and you can't use any maps, pictures, or other images. So as students play this game, they're going to figure out that it's very difficult to describe a location without being able to give certain names, categories, or landmarks. This moves into a conversation about various geographic representations, so maps, atlases, satellite images, etc., and a discussion about how that helps other people as well as geographers. Then we move into learning about parts of a map, different types of a map, continents and ocean location review, and then learning about how to use latitude and longitude. There's a little Simon Says game that you can play, and then this leads into a battleship game, again practicing the latitude and longitude. Lesson 4 is all about culture. There's 2 days set aside for the length for this lesson, and there's various items here to see. The warm-up for lesson 4 is to look at these different images found in the slideshow and ask students to make observations about what they notice. Then you share that students are looking at different images from various cultures. So then we start with supporting question 2, what is a culture? And there's a video that you can watch and have students write a list of items that make up a culture. There's a spot to do this on page 4 of the student packet. And then there's a list that you can use to add more items. Then there's various maps to look at to talk about other culture aspects like a language map, a religions map, and even a most popular sports map. Then you move on and have students create a definition of culture that can be displayed. And the second day, there is a McDonald's culture activity that you can complete either as a whole class or in pairs. And it's a pretty fun one, and you find out about the different types of menu items available at different places around the world. Lesson 5 is a culture pizza project activity in which students use a pizza pie and add different aspects about their own culture to it. We start learning about supporting question number 3 in lesson 6 entitled Geography. So now we're starting to learn the GRAPES strategy for how to study different cultures and civilizations. So we begin by discussing different types of sources. So primary and secondary sources, comparing sources, etc. There's a variety of options for resources to learn about this. And if you would like more background information, we have a video in the Teaching Social Studies playlist about primary and secondary sources and some strategies to use them. Next, we talk through the GRAPES strategy, and that it's an acronym and what it stands for. And then we focus on the geography side of it, in which case you have information on the slideshow here about different types and examples of geography, why it's important. And then you have time to kind of dig into some more about a definition of geography. Then we move into 5 themes. We look at landforms. There's lots of different resources to choose from. We talk about climate. Again, pick and choose some of the different resources. Then we move into the geographic regions of Iowa. This is a lesson plan from PBS Learning Media. And basically what we want to do is we want to learn about the different sections of Iowa, what makes each of those geographic regions different and unique. That way we can then give a better comparison when we look at other areas in the world in this unit and in later units. Following the discussion of various aspects of Iowa's geography, then we move on to natural resources. We look at the different natural forests around the world. We look at mineral maps. Then we have a resource map from National Geographic that shows some of the basic minerals and basic resources within our country. So the next step is to research some of the natural resources of Iowa, again, so that students have a better background to be able to compare between different civilizations and locations. The project that students will begin in this lesson, and it works as one of the summatives for this particular unit, is the MyGrapes project. Students will work on the geography section after this lesson. Lesson 7 is the Island Invention Project. Students take what they've learned from the geography section and develop an island with different landforms and other details to start representing a culture. We continue learning about supporting question 3 and the GRAPES method in lesson 8. This time we focus on religion. We're going to look at various types of religions around the world. We learn about polytheistic religions. We look at Hinduism and Buddhism. And then we look at monotheism with Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Now, these are kind of the top 5 that we look at throughout the rest of the units in social studies. And this gives a nice starting foundation to understand more about how these religions developed and why. At the end of this lesson, students add and work on the religion section of the MyGrapes project. Please note that we are very careful about asking specific religion questions of students. This is more of what you might see out in the community. So this allows for all sorts of backgrounds for students without feeling pressure for any particular aspect. Lesson 9 moves on to A, achievements of the GRAPES method. After we talk through some of the examples of achievements, then we look at some of the famous Iowans and some of their achievements. And then students will have some time to work on the achievement section of the GRAPES project. Lesson 10 is about politics and the political structure of different types of places. You will use the Who Rules iCivics lesson to talk about different types of governments and do a compare-contrast. The lesson plan is linked in, but you would probably want to get an iCivics account if you do not already have one. It is free for teachers, and you can link a lot of the materials directly from iCivics to Google Classroom, so it makes it a lot easier to do more interactive items. There's also resources available from National Geographic. Then, of course, there is a politics section, mostly talking about types of rules or decision-making steps within the home. Lesson 11 is all about economics, so the E of GRAPES. Again, we start by kind of finding out more about what economics is and have different examples of it, as well as the importance of studying the economy of a different culture or civilization. And then again, we have an iCivics lesson, government and the economy, so that we can learn more about the different types of economies. There's a section in the My Grapes project about economics. Then we talk about how family gets the resources they need, where they come from, and how they get transported to where you are. Lesson 12 finishes out our GRAPES method with S for society. And in this, we start by looking at population. Then we move into some information about the people who live in Iowa, past and present. This includes Indigenous peoples. And then, of course, we have aspects of society in our My Grapes project. We talk about levels and roles within your family and how that balances and works together. In Lesson 13, we get to our final supporting question. How is my culture similar to or different from other cultures? So Lesson 13 is all about comparing cultures. We have a comparing cultures project that students will work on. And in this, we break down the grapes of Iowa and of a second culture. So some of the information that students did in the My Grapes project will work in the Iowa section. And then some of the things from the Culture Pizza project might also work in either option. Lesson 14 is the summative, in which we have students answering the compelling question, and that rubric goes along with it as we discussed prior in this video. Thank you for watching this video about the Intro to World Regions and Cultures unit for 6th grade. Be sure to check out the other videos in this playlist and the videos in the Teaching Social Studies playlist. Please reach out to your PLC leader, instructional coach, or curriculum facilitator if you have any questions or would like some more information or support.